See, we are live. There we go. We can shrink the screen to normal size. There we go. Let's get that a little bigger. Good evening, everybody. All right, how's that? Good size. Hi, Missy. How are you? Nice to see you. Yeah, it's darn Chop Chat. I don't ever know what the purpose of that is. So, and a very good evening to all of you, Peachy Pie, Missy, aka. Good to see you, sweetie. I'm here with D-Dub Travel, and if you would hit the thumbs up on the way in, that would be great this evening. And yeah, it's been a heck of a weekend here. We've just been monitoring events here. There's been a lot of feeds: Washington, Memphis, Atlanta, Minneapolis. How you doing, Juice? Hello, Bill Ellis. How are you?
Santa Monica.
What's up, Juice? Santa Monica down there, which I have to say, so far so good. But of course, we know the stuff comes down when the sun goes
Santa
down.
Monica's actually going through some.
Hello, Craig. Right, nice to see you. Cheryl S. Good to see you.
Hey, Craig. Cheryl S.
Yeah, we're all thugs. Hello, Chris. How are you? Charla, what's up, Tara? How you doing? Thought I'd come on a little while tonight. Events may take off later. It was a they had some action here in Santa Rosa last night. There may be something later tonight. I know they're planning another protest, and stuff got a little out of hand last night here. Not to the extent that you would see in other places, but they had some teenage kid in a pickup truck plow into a crowd here in Santa Rosa at the courthouse. So it was pretty tough.
They had a truck in Santa Monica.
Hey, Jen. Yeah, what down in Santa Monica down there, and of course I know they call Ocean Park Boulevard down there, and it's really one of the main roads that goes by Pacific Palisades, the Santa Monica Pier, and all the really nice places down there. They got some pretty nice shops and restaurants.
Not anymore.
Well, let's just say some of them got nailed. They got the mall down there, the big mall down there, and everything like that.
Hard.
Yeah, the mall, that's always going to be a target. I suspect it'll be a target later tonight. But yeah, things are still rolling on. We're keeping an eye on that. We went around today, drove around a little bit. We couldn't see much in town. The city is very excellent with second graffiti hits. It almost disappears. They, if you tag something, it's either painted over or pressure washed. So by the time we were out there about 1 o'clock, we didn't see anything. But I think a restaurant and a Unity Center got their windows smashed in. A couple of semi deals.
Yeah, that was in Santa Monica. Somebody went right through the crowd on the freeway.
Yeah, it's lucky they
didn't. Beat the
crap he
didn't
get
out
killed.
Of him. Well, yeah, he was real close. He's in the hospital right now.
And then there was some guy in Salt Lake City that raised a bow and arrow with some people, and they beat hell out of it. They beat hell out of that guy. You don't want to be that lone soldier, surrounded.
Yeah, I was watching that Cheryl S. all night, all day.
Yeah, what I want to talk about tonight was, and I've talked about it several times over the years. I've grown up in a city that has been torn by strife, Baltimore, and it also has a distinction of being in a state that was torn in the Civil War between North and South. They call it the Old Line State, of course, Maryland south of the Mason-Dixon line. But there was a lot of ingrained prejudice. You have to remember it was a predominantly white city until World War I happened, and then the blacks got on the trains and migrated to the north for industrial jobs and factories and things like that. They were hiring everybody they could get. And the first major industrial town at that time, city, and at that time Baltimore was a top 10 city in the nation. The first industrial city that you hit on the way north was Baltimore. And it became a real clash point of, my, God rest her soul, my grandmother was insanely prejudiced living in Baltimore because she had seen a city that was southern and genteel just changed to a point where riots occurred and things like that. So it was definitely a state that was torn between loyalties, not only in the Civil War, but in life. I grew up at a time when going to soda fountains and department store lunch counters, you would have a white area and a black area. I distinctly remember big the big stores on Howard Street, Hutzler's, Hochel Cone, the Heck Company, and Stewart's were all very segregated as to where you could be. Movie theaters, you had restrooms for whites only and blacks only. The Gwynn Oak Amusement Park had segregated entrances for blacks and whites. So I really grew up with the flavor of this. And then, of course, came 1968 in April of 1968, and I remember it like it was yesterday when Martin Luther King was assassinated down in Memphis down there, and cities in the United States exploded. I know Detroit did, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and at that time Nancy Pelosi's uh, brother was the mayor, Tommy D'Alessandro Jr., and he was hiding under his desk when he wouldn't activate. The police force was overwhelmed, and in our neighborhood it was just absolute chaos at that particular time. And the only thing that saved our ass was when the 17th Airborne came in from Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and the 172nd Armored Division came in from North Carolina. That was about it. I distinctly remember, and I remember horse-mounted cops coming in with sticks, just cracking skulls like you wouldn't believe. It left a real impression.
Mm.
It left a real impression on me, and it gave me real flashbacks looking at some of this stuff that is occurring now. And of course, it's much wider in scope now than this is a nationwide phenomenon.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But I told Dee today that in a strange way, it makes me very proud in one way to be an American, that we have a society that can tolerate an amendment that gives people the right to protest. Doesn't give them the right to loot, doesn't give them the right to be thugs. But let me tell you guys, having lived 5 years in China, with being under the watch of Chinese agents, and remember, I was in China not long after Tiananmen Square and that whole thing. And you want to talk about repressive, you want to talk about a society where people are really bottled up inside and things like that. China is a whole different story. So I was very happy, in a way, to see a country that's allowed to vent like we're doing now. Now, neither Dee nor I, nor you guys out there would say venting in this kind of way is appropriate. But remember, they'll start the protest. The civilized people will leave when the time is over. We saw it in Oakland. The people departed and they left. And what's left? You have the incoming rushing of the agitators, as well as the people, the opportunists. And because of social media now and the ability to flash out exactly where the protesters are and things, you can see looters pull up in big vans and pickup trucks and just take advantage of that opportunity.
People from out of state are renting U-Hauls and going to that city that they know where it's going to be the next day. Just U-Haul vans just for looting.
How you doing, Jay? Yeah. So, I was grateful in a way that we have this kind of society. Now, as far as the markets are concerned, it's really hard to say. I myself know the long-term trend is going to be downward here, and very significantly. But tonight, I think the United States Treasury is in full force. They're doing their plunge protection things and buying futures and other things to keep things stable, and Asia's rallying significantly over there tonight. Boston was civilized until the close of the now. It's in absolute turmoil. If so, it angers me. Yeah, there's certain cities like Boston. I do read the Boston Globe and try to check in on a lot of different newspapers. And some cities, some cities have fared well. I'm surprised Baltimore hasn't. Except for the odd cop car going up and stuff, it hasn't really been in the news. So, what is your take on the whole thing, D? Having, number one, been on the scene of one of these
I am
actions?
So severely disgusted. I'm just
Did you
so
expect
far.
otherwise? Did you expect otherwise?
I
Realistically.
predicted it the first day of
Well, that's what I'm
Minnesota. I
saying. Did
said that
you?
what's going to happen is it's going to be an uproar. There's going to be riots throughout the country now because either this or another excuse is going to come about. This is the perfect opportunity that they've been waiting for. And so once they seen things get away with in Minnesota, it just spread the next day throughout the entire country. I said the National Guard's going to be on scene or some kind of
Oh
military
yeah.
presence. And what's happening today and yesterday?
Well, I think
Now they got National Guard
yeah.
there. They have the National Guard there though,
Once
because
Minneapolis set the tone on Thursday evening, and it almost seems like a year ago now, the rest of the city started to pick up the cue from Minneapolis,
yeah,
and started to go wild
when they seen
with
the
that.
police
Yeah.
station go up in flames, they were like, "Oh, now we can
Yeah,
all get
I think we
away
hope
with this."
I think we hope for otherwise. Missy Jen, but the death of George Floyd is one of those polarizing, because the video is out there and everything, and now they're talking about he died of a heart attack or something like that. It's just the visuals of it are really bad, and I think that's the thing that people took to their heart. And then,
Yeah.
then like Dee says, you have that second level of opportunists, then you have professional agitators, and
Mm-hmm.
then you have real lowlifes out there that just are
They're tagging
enjoying.
things up, and that's their whole goal is to destruction. It's sad. I think that the reason why they're deploying the National Guard is because what the protests, not the rioters, those are two different groups. But what the protesters are protesting is violence against, police officers against citizens. So they can't have the police officers taking lethal force. I really believe that's what the National Guard is now there for, so that the police officers won't take lethal force. It'll be our nation's National Guard.
Yeah, Ilva, I saw, and good evening to you.
That's
Ilva
my
says
next prediction.
we're on lockdown in Salt Lake. That's the city where the video was of the guy that pulled up in his pickup truck and pulled a bow and arrow out and pointed it into the crowd as if he was going to shoot, and then he pulled him out of his vehicle and beat the what out of him. So I disagree. I think we all disagree with that, JJ, to tell you the truth. How you doing, Deb in Vegas? Nice to see you. Riders want us afraid. Oh, Missy, I'm sorry, sweetie. I called you the wrong. Got a lot on my mind. Got a lot on my mind today, so you'll have to forgive me. I'm still coming down for. We kind of talked about going down to San Francisco this evening, but then we figured, the heavy stuff might fly tonight.
Yeah, yeah, it was peaceful throughout the day, but last night I guess it wasn't so peaceful. Tonight they're not anticipating it being peaceful. I mean, there's a curfew in L.A. County it's been enforced since 6 o'clock, but nobody's really caring.
Yeah.
The curfew doesn't do anything.
Yeah, well, Missy, I love you. I called you by the wrong name there, honey. I still love you, my Kansas City Star out there.
Hey, Juice.
And I was keeping an eye on Memphis and then Washington, D.C. I'm kind of really surprised. I can tell the president is getting conflicting advice. On the one hand, you have advisors that are telling him just let it be handled on local levels.
Right.
And then you have probably the Attorney General, William Barr, and some of the real tough stick guys are probably telling me, yeah, get on the airwaves and give a message to people. I think it's kind of strange he hasn't, kind of given a national address. Maybe he's waiting till the dust settles a little bit. I would hope he would open some type of national dialogue or something. Would seem like the right thing to do to let the healing begin. Hey Gerald, how are you? Does anyone see the store? Oh, got to be. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'd stand in the way of that juice. I think most smart store owners have some insurance that covers that type of thing. I'm not sure if I would stick myself in the front of that. Dem City's not doing well with this. Well, I saw Columbia, South Carolina. Mouse toes stuff got a little wild down in Columbia, South Carolina yesterday. So it's already spread down. Santa Rosa is a city of about 200,000 people, so it's certainly in here. I mean, Buffalo, New York, and Syracuse, and some of the places over there. Didn't think Bostonians used, but we're celebrating. I have to go watch the news. Yeah. yeah, making Antifa domestic terrorists will stop.
It should be. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's who's causing the hate. And these people are inside these peaceful protests, and they're waiting for the perfect opportunity. They're also instigating.
Yeah, interestingly for me, a lot of the agitators that are being arrested, and we had, of course, the Molotov Sisters. It's, the one threw a Molotov cocktail. Thank God the thing didn't go at the police vehicle when she was brought down, and then her sister came in to try to help her and ended up biting the cop or something like that. That's attempted murder, folks. I mean, that's the real deal, and they're from the Catskills in New York. They're all liberal. Their minds are all infested with anarchy, a la Emma Goldman, 1918 in the United States, and anarchy. We had a situation last night in Petaluma. 3 people were arrested. They were all 18 to 23 years old. 2 of them were out of the area, and professional agitators that come in and do this type of craziness. Thank you, Erica. Yeah, D doesn't look as pale tonight, huh? You ate some fruit today.
Yeah, have some oranges.
Yeah, I think D wants to be here. I just have a big mouth. I warned y'all about the tear gas half an hour. Yeah, well, Hank, it's not the first time in my life I've sucked down tear gas, but it had been 42 years since I did suck down the tear gas, and this is a much stronger than I remember back in the day in 1968, as the area was just it was April, and it was penetrated everywhere in there. They need to bring out water cannon. I think they're trying to not ramp it up, and in not ramping it up, they're putting the loss on the business owners. You know what I'm saying? They'll stand there like there was a chase bag
Yeah.
in, I don't know if it was Long Beach or Santa Monica, or maybe it was Minneapolis. The thugs jumped. We've seen Chase banks destroyed in Oakland.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
They ran inside. They screwed up the ATM machine, smashed the glass. They're outside trying to break into the ATM machine, and the cops just have to come up. There's not enough of them at that particular site to make it a safe operation, so they just end up standing there and having to watch this stuff. Alpha Wolf, get with the tenor of the times. Put the bottle down, okay? Hey, Cinnamon Hot Hot, how are you tonight? Shoot the shit with shit. Oh, okay, good. I got to get over there. I've been so wrapped up in other crap. You wouldn't know I'm a Patreon over there, but it's kind of crazy. Hey, Canadian chick, I saw the devastation that faced them all. I can see a spike in suicide. We got a long road ahead of us, folks, in my opinion. We have, back in late February, this COVID-19 was like a black swan event. And of course, a black swan event has been defined as something that unexpectedly comes out of the blue and has the ability to really alter society in many ways. So that was a real black swan. Then you had the second black swan. The market, took a header on that. Now you got the third black swan of the groundwork laid for civil unrest. And we know that the government can't go on indefinitely enhancing paychecks with $600 weekly enhancements and paying unemployment forever. So we all kind of got an idea that we hope employment rises before the money, so to speak, runs out. Or you're going to see this shift over to a economic base of protest coming up here. Hey, G, how are you?
I think there's two protests involved, and I think the rioters are, some of the protesting is part of the rioting, and I think those are the ones that are against the big corporations, because they do try to target more big corporations than they do the small town people. Unfortunately, a lot of the small town people still get hit, but more of the big corporations are being more of a target, almost like there's a second agenda involved with it.
Chef said they're looting the heck out of Long Beach. Well, think of the,
Yes.
when you don't want to stand up and confront because you're afraid that you'll ramp it up. What is the message that the thugs sitting home? They're watching on TV. They're watching people walk out of Urban Outfitters and Nike stores with boxes and boxes, and nobody's doing anything. Okay, so what's the
No.
message that goes out to them? Hey man, get your car, let's go. You got
Get
a
it while you
truck, get a
can.
U-Haul, man, let's go.
That's what it sounds like.
We're
Get it
gonna
while
find
you
a
can.
place, and we're gonna. So there's the negative message that goes out when you don't deal with things. And I know, and I told Dee this is going to mark a turning point in touchy feely police. Okay, I call it kind of touchy feely, like let's stand back and not not provoke or respond in force. You're going to see the business community now when they get their heads above water, and they're gonna have their own say so at city halls and tell them, hey man, thanks for making us the sacrificial lambs in this whole deal. You're supposed to protect privacy, and you didn't do jack in these for us here. So
They're not arresting anybody. They're just making their presence known to get the looters out of there, but that's about it.
yeah, and I think Chef, that a lot of that comes from the reprogramming of police departments, and LA is a perfect example. After the Rodney King things and then all that, they had a whole, they tore down the old police station. It looked like a fortress, and they put up a clear glass building to send a message of transparency, according to the news. And more public outreach, more of an officer base that mirrors the city population. And if you go to LA, you'll see that. I mean, there's plenty of Asian, black cops, very good balance of the police force. I mean, if you look at it that way, they came a long way. But where the rubber meets the road of to protect and to serve,
Mm-hmm.
the protection feature was kind of lacking tonight for fear of provocation. But what's the message it sends out? The store's open, come and get it. And Dee's like, man, they're renting U-Hauls out there, and
They're finding more and more organization to this, but it's a very despicable thing. I mean, it really is.
just started a fire
Very
in
sad.
Boston come. Loot your cabinet fridge. You've the best milk and yeah, she probably does. Yeah. So I just want to tell you, I can imagine the bounce back that's going to be from some of the
Well,
business community. Because how do you think you feel? Okay, do you have a nice store? You do a great business, and you know this stuff is coming down, and your expectation is that they'll at least make even a half-ass attempt to protect your property. Put the cordons down on each side of the street, have the cops and just keep the protesters in the middle. You're going to be a little hacked off when your store's looted and your merch and your cash right here.
I think part of the problem is they're focusing on the protesters and making them stop at certain points instead of just letting them keep going. I think one of the
Hi,
ways
Amanda.
it's like they used to do with
Hi, Kitty.
horses. They could be going down the sides of the marches with horses, motorcycles, things like that, keeping their presence within the whole entire protest. But let them move around. I think when things happen is when they stop and they're
Boxing.
standing their ground, and the police
Yeah.
are trying to show force and scare them.
Thank you.
That's
Dustin.
usually
We've
when everybody
seen
else
blocking.
rises up.
We know we got caught in a blocking tactic in Oakland, but I'm just predicting you guys that you're going to hear from the business slash okay, we'll take it up since Cheryl said a lot of those businesses are insured. A lot of them aren't in LA. Okay, now the insurance companies will start putting pressure on municipal governments. You guys and they'll probably get sued too. I mean, let's face it. Nationwide will be like, well, look at the side of your police to protect and to serve. We saw no attempt at
Well, that
protection.
stopped. That
You know.
stopped in the '90s. They used to train police officers to be peace officers, and that was their whole thing was to protect and serve and take everything on a case by case basis. In the '90s, they you notice they switched that and they started calling them law enforcement. Well, now their training is totally different. They train them to enforce all laws, no matter what.
Well, Chris, from what I saw on Ocean Boulevard, I know that area like the back of my hand down in Santa Monica. The Vons was being looted. That's where I saw Jane Fonda shopping at the Vons in Santa Monica there. I know that area very well. Where the protesters were coming in, I didn't see any attempt. There's a lot of businesses on those streets and things. I didn't, I guess it's the devil's choice. No matter which street you pick, you're going to have businesses to be
Hmm.
on. And up there, there were actually two protest groups, right? They were separated by about 4 or 5
Yep.
blocks. One was peaceful.
No, they were
Ran
separated by one block.
one block.
They boxed the police in with their cars and everything else. But the thing is yes, they're trying to. That's why I'm saying if they're trying to protect the businesses, why aren't they patrolling the sides of the marches and the walks where all the businesses and the looters and everybody's smashing everything up? Why don't they take their bicycles, their police, motorcycles, their horses, and just show a huge police presence all the way around that? I think that would be more useful instead of stopping them and then now you created a barrier and you can't get to where everybody is doing a horrible acts.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I'm just making the prediction that we will probably make another U-turn here in terms of the enforcement and things like that. So I know the tone of the day has been nationwide to just stay cool, stay calm, only counterpunch if you're directly assaulted or something like that. So I've seen that today, but it's probably going to twist and turn back the other way. Yeah, Rodeo Drive, Beverly Hills got marked up last night. Well, Santa Monica is a fancy area too. Any place west of the freeway there, the 410, I believe it is all. You got UCLA, you got all Westwood. It's all very, very nice real estate over there. Yeah, well, it's terrible. Yeah, with the COVID-19 underneath of that. So, yeah, I predict attack poodles. Yeah, 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 attack poodles out there. Now, somebody said, do I think it'll get worse? No, I do not believe it'll get worse. I think, like any ride, it's defined by. I think Baltimore was 4 or 5 days, and some of the other cities in 1968. They tend to burn themselves out. We know there's a lot of adrenaline, but it may not burn itself out if people are just going to stand back and there's going to be no police pushback against looting and things
I
like that. So,
predicted all this to happen Tuesday morning. I mean, I just knew it was going to get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse.
Gerald, I really don't have I really don't have an indication about Fresno. I've never really visited the town. You got Modesto, Fresno, and Bakersfield are the big Central Valley towns. I only really know Bakersfield is the one. Hello, Doris. How are you? Nice to see you. Toe, Shark, and Lock. Worse is going to be into, and yeah, I'm wondering about the cornholio. I mean, it's almost like an afterthought now. And if you guys are, we know that, Dusty. What do you think? What do you think we're talking about? Please thumbs up if you're enjoying the stream or enjoying a little bit of live content. Would really, really appreciate it. Janice said they're posting and testing in Europe on this too. I guess anybody that feels like they're slighted or disenfranchised is out there just joining the.
People are just tired of being cooped up. It's more than just
Hey,
George Floyd. Unfortunately, they're
doing?
using his name for all this, and that's a sad thing. But it's more. It's a lot more to it. It's more in depth. It's not just one man losing his life. It's about how this whole country is being ran.
Yeah, I think it's we'll just have to see what Kenosha's on lockdown tonight too. Okay. Yeah, that's north. That's the southern end of Wisconsin as you're coming over from out of Illinois up there, and Yeah, nice area. How you doing, Michaela? Nice to see you. You got the riots going on there. Matronese, my dad sent his suburb to 68. He stayed in the apartment with a loaded gun. Well, we didn't have that luxury. I mean, we're just, thank you, Alvin. We were just in the thick of the sauce down there, and I was never so happy to see the 17th Airborne out of Fort Bragg come marching in along with the 172nd U.S. Army squad. So it's not, people think we've never had military on the streets before. Nonsense. We've had
Mm-hmm.
military we've had big time military on the streets in '68. Like I say, Pelosi's brother Tommy D'Alessandro Jr. was very ineffective as the mayor of Baltimore at that particular time, and the National Guard was overwhelmed. It's live right now. Then it's that. Yeah, we're there. Yep. I mean, we have seen hours of stuff today, hours of things in coverage. D,
For
you'll come in and tell me you wouldn't. Well,
weeks. Oh, for a week now.
now the protesters got the police boxed in down. It's like a chessboard down there. Isn't it,
It
with
really
all
is.
these
Everybody's just
blocks.
trying to get one leg up.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm just saying. Just let the protesters go and patrol on the sides. It would save so much. And when they get to their final point, they can disperse, and what's left is troublemakers, and protest is over. They can start arresting.
Yeah, it almost reaches a point where you got to think to yourself, would the legitimate protesters really care if some of the looters got their skulls cracked? Well, if they're true to their ideals of equality for all, which I think many of us are, then they would have to say it's not something that they could agree with, and that's the way it is. Let's see. Fresno is table grapes and raisin. Oh, there you go, Tara. That'll be a night to remember. Be on a par with the Titanic. I want to spend the night with Nancy Pelosi on her mattress. Really, you know. Tara, sometimes you're a weird chick, On top of everything, I gained so much weight, going to start on a diet. There you go, G. The majority of people riding here are hired or something. Well, you got to understand. There's opportunities that are trained for these kind of tactics. They'll be the
Hmm.
first ones to pick up uh, their.
Antifa's planted on all these, too. They got Antifa planted everywhere, paying.
How you doing, Penny Pincher? Nice to see you. I was here. It was very bad. Portland was bad as well as with rioters. So was Seattle. Yeah, I think that they'll get it under control. I really think that they're not traditional cities for civil unrest. You get over to the south and the industrial north and the eastern seaboard. There you got cities that are steeped in tradition of big time riots and things like that. Homemade pierogies. That sounds pretty good. Every day for 2 years, always something. We're freaking out. It's exhausting. Well, hey, Bella Grace, if you to believe the Bible, it's a time of tribulations with disease and unrest and potentially famine and hunger and things like that. So it could be the time of tribulations if you're a Bible believing person. Drake is gonna make his mom a birthday cake. Yeah, it's not good. It's happened. Yeah. Oh well, Orlando's another big time city that's built on low wages. Okay, it's a service center economy with Disney World and all that. So it's all
Yeah.
vacation land, and that you don't. It's, let's face it, the best paying jobs in blue collar industrial factory jobs, and there aren't a lot of factories around down there. So it said Earth would be destroyed by fire, but sometimes you have to take that with a little bit of interpretation. It could also be global warming could be interpreted as fire, when it's hot out.
That's true. You can interpret that all kinds of
Hi,
different ways.
Gypsy. How are you? So, D, what's your sense of where do you think we're tapering off now? I mean, to me, emotions.
I
I've never seen
think
rioting go on for more than say five nights.
It's been going over more than 5 nights now.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday is the fourth night.
Not for Minnesota.
Well, Minnesota looked pretty calm tonight.
I think it's going to get worse because I think the National Guard's there to do lethal rounds that they don't want the police to doing, and I think that's going to cause a lot of uproar.
Yeah, Coach has a question for you, D.
No, I don't plan on getting a minivan. I'll just register and insure my bike when the DMV opens.
Let's see. Anyone remember when the towers crashed? Seemed like the end of the world. Shock and awe was the slogan. Gearing up to war. It's happening again. Well, we'll see. I mean, you have, the United States has to be careful of the message that's sent to the world. You don't want to look too shaky. You know what I mean? I mean, 60% of the world's reserve currency is U.S. dollars. I mean, it's no wonder I'm quite sure the Treasury's in there buying S&P futures for tomorrow to keep things on an even keel. Hey, Kaylee. I mean, there's a lot of wheels turning. Kaylee said, I'm depressed. Any advice? Also, I was to take an RV trip. Not much contact. What do you think? I don't think I'd be RVing right now. I think I'd be close to home. I'm keeping an eye on things to see if it's safe to travel. If you're depressed, please go watch a movie, watch a comedy, get your head out of the game. I worried a little bit about these set up there and monitor headquarters. Minnesota is not okay. Well, I saw tonight compared to 2 nights ago. I mean, it looks like Minneapolis is calm. Easy said they try to come in my house at 38 special is waiting for them. That's right. Hey, Key Lime, long time no see, Gina. Hope you're doing well. My sense is we probably peaked out last night on this. I'm not sure. Of course, I could wake up tomorrow and it's like another glaring headline on the New York Times, American Flames or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm keeping an eye on things for travel. I mean, it's almost a comedy in some ways. It's almost like a comedy of the absurd, theater of the absurd, because you have Las Vegas trying to open now in the middle of all this. And I can tell you, I don't think people are in a mood to go to. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Well, I don't know. I'm just disgusted by the entire thing.
Yeah, I could tell you're kind of down at the mouth. Is your disgust with humanity? Is it with?
It's with the humanity. It's just this whole entire situation. I'm just ashamed to call myself an American at this point, because you got so many thousands of people who are taking advantage of a right that was given to us not to loot and destroy and cause mayhem. It was a right given to us to express our voice and get things done through our voice as citizens. And this is not American way. This is disgusting.
Yeah, Doris, it's on my about page.
It's really disgusting.
On the channel there. Yeah, I know you're social like I am, but got to be careful. To me, I'm kind of the opposite. I told Dee, I feel very proud to be an American today because of the opportunity to vent and release. Other societies keep that stuff repressed, like China. So when they do finally have the big blow, like Russia and places like that, when it goes, it's a one and done deal.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? In this country, we have the pressure cooker, and then the emergency pressure relief valve goes off, and it takes people's levels down a little bit. But we have a financial overlay that's worrisome here of 20% unemployment, which has been unheard of since 1933. So. I
am Republican, by the way.
Country Road, I've never made any statement about President Trump. I support him because he's my president now. When you get elected, then I'm behind you in your leadership. So I don't waffle that way. Hey, how you doing, ladies and gentlemen at the Roundtable? What's going on with you? Yeah, you gonna get a beer or anything?
Oh no.
Okay.
No, I'm not drinking today.
Okay. It's taking a chill day today.
Yeah.
Looting, we understand that. Looting is not protesting, but tell me how we put it in people's minds to this is the cutoff point, go this high and no higher. Let's face it, man, there's a thug element of society out there that looks at the last couple days and says, man, our ship has come in. You know, did you see the guys down on Ocean Boulevard running into the shops? And here we are sitting here like the way you were with the protest. Why? Hey, man, we got to be down there, right? They're
Yeah, but I'm looking at it like a totally different
well,
way.
you are. You're not. You know, you're
I'm
not,
looking at it like,
yeah, I understand.
I want to see
that.
this.
Hi,
I want to
Andrew.
film this. I want
Yeah.
to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. I mean, it's a sad day in America. It really is. I mean, here we come. We're going through a pandemic. We're starting to come out. California, they just now loosened up to where people can start going to restaurants and everything else in Southern California. And the day they're supposed to open is the day they just get ransacked and destroyed.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, this is horrible.
Now Vegas wants to reopen, and the tenor of the mood is not exactly a party mood, considering they had some very violent protests down on Fremont Street and up on the Strip. Over there. Hope you're staying safe. For once, not from cornholio. I think we probably both already had cornholio. What scares me is like all the freedoms they took away. What freedoms are gonna? I'm not sure, Matronice. I think the long discussions are going to be about police response and things like that. And maybe the pendulum went too far the other way. I don't know.
I mean,
I find that some people are of a somewhat liberal bent or very happy to offer up business, as the sacrifice for having cops that did stood down and didn't, they didn't fire real bullets into the crowd. And I think more conservative people will say we shouldn't offer anybody up in this country. If we have a police department, your job is to protect and to serve. So I think that's the discussion that's going to come out of this. I mean, look at the LAPD. They have gone miles to clean up their act from 10 years ago. They're like, they're almost like a model of the cross section of the officers and the leadership there. It mirrors society in LA.
It's really sad too because the country was coming together over a pandemic. You would see people who didn't even know each other helping each other out to survive, just like in April. And now we are 100% divided. It's horrible.
Well, I think regardless with the opening that the virus rate was going to rise. It's rising here in our area. It slowed down our next level of openness. I think that it's going to be a long summer. Now it's almost like the cornholio is pushed to sort of a lower level, which might be more dangerous in the end run of everything. And now I really believe that the economic issue is going to start rising as the number one issue. It's going to get a bit rowdy on the Strip right now. Yeah. Well, think about who works in Vegas.
Service people.
Service people. And there's very few service people. I don't care if you're getting tips or something like that are clearing more than $60,000 a year. I'd say most people make about $30,000 if they're lucky and they got some health benefits and things like that. And they're thinking to themselves, "Damn right, I want to be out on. Damn right, I want to be out there." And people see it as the government's responsibility that they don't achieve more and move higher in society.
Yeah.
Where we've had this philosophy in America, like, oh, we can all be winners. There's no point being a high achieving student or something because, Andrew said we open up everything. So we see what's happening on both sides and who's doing. Yeah, we try. I try to keep an eye on things. We keep throwing money at things that never change. Definition of insanity. Best thing it was the time after that. There you go, Joey D. With the cornholio news. Hey, Ninth. Yeah, D's been keeping himself calm here. He's had his little
Some
Can't blame
medication.
him. He's one of millions in here, and they're allowing you to buy diazepam over the counter in Scotland. Good Lord. Okay. Um. Yeah. Don't be. Hey, Sam. How you doing, honey? You were nuts to tip me out like that the other night. You know that stuff's coming back to you, babe. Good to see you. So, we'll see what happens. I think our big issue by far is economics right now. It's if you saw my upload on the Murphy channel last week about dominoes, you can knock down 1 million dominoes in maybe an hour or two, going around a floor and big show. But let me tell you, it takes weeks and weeks to set them up. That's the way the economy is when it comes back. It's little block by little block by little block by little block. So that's what I'm much more worried about.
Well, think about all the diabetics, the older people with heart problems. All of these pharmacies are getting raided and looted. Where's this medication going to come from when these people are out tomorrow or the next
So I
day?
have to drive, 20 miles out of their way to
Some
get
people can't do that. I
to
mean,
get a,
that's really sad.
I
This whole
understand
thing
that.
is just,
Yeah, I understand
there's
that.
nothing to me. I'm just not happy. I mean, it's a horrible thing in the world.
There's a lot of
I just want to do something.
small gears that were finally meshed in this nation, and like I said, we've thrown a lot. There's a lot of wrenches in those gears right now. So we're under pre-martial law right now. Welcome to the experiment. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I know Baxter. That's my own feeling. We talked to you about you a few times. We respect you and during the run. Oh, well, hey, ladies and gentlemen at Roundtable, thank you. I respect what you've
Thank you.
built on your channel. Okay, don't think because I'm not there. I'm usually doing other crap around here, but I listen to the replays and things when you're on there. So I'm very honored to see you on the chat tonight. You've built yourself a good chat. They will be able to, but down the block, from the trunk, yeah, they'll be able to buy that trunk of a Lexus
That's true.
there.
Because it's gonna be all over. I mean, you see, though, that's like one of the main things hit too and looted. Pharmacies.
Yeah, well, if you're a Bible believing person, and I think they would call this a time of tribulations, and certainly 2020 has been off the chain with I mean, it's like a year no other. I felt so bad for the kids that are graduating from high school. We have these virtual graduations or drive-through graduation, and I mean, it's all kinds of weird things. And it's the first time in history that so public education in this country that a senior class has not been able to uh, have a ceremony, at least not here in our particular area, and all the missing those last couple months of school and all the finals of senior activities and all that. Thank you, Andrew. Ooh. Pharmacies are closed. Yeah, 2020 is a mess. 2020 is a mess. And I don't think it's a slam dunk politics. If anybody says it's a shoe in that Biden gets elected, it's quite a distance between now and November. So we'll see about that. I haven't heard Biden say a lot about what's going on. So
He won't be intelligent, and he'll miss his words off, and he'll say some dumb shit. One thing about him is his speech is worse than George Bush's was.
Rosa, you okay? KY starting now. KY, I'm not sure what that Kentucky. Oh, it's Kentucky starting now. Kentucky already had something on. They were an early one on because of that gal that got killed. What was her? Can't think of her name. That down in Louisville, down there, or something like that. So it's like now cops got to be extra careful, right? Uh, uh, yes, I was watching Sacramento. Did you see any of Sacramento on your feed?
No, I just got sucked into Santa Monica and Long Beach. I was just like, oh wow. And then when I found out about the National
I
Guard
Trixie.
in LA, I was just like, oh wow, this is where it's gonna happen.
Well, we thought so too, Matronista, and let me tell you the horrors this city has been through with, uh, 2000 October 2017, losing 6,000 homes in 6 hours here to wildfire, and then to have come back and then have a second wildfire last October that luckily didn't do as much urban damage, and then now we get the COVID-19, and this industry here is built on wine, the wine grape. Hmm?
Yeah, yeah.
And their tasting rooms are not allowed to open, and they're missing a big chunk of their revenue. Please tell D that Kaylee is still blocked on his channel. Okay, I'm sure D will check
I'll
that
look
out.
at that. It might be just YouTube blocked, but I'll check it out.
If any of you, some of you are D's mods, when he's live, maybe you could give him the direct link to Kaylee's channel, and he can just click on it and see if it's blocked or not. How you doing, Julie? See you on the. I actually wonder if Tijuana is on lockdown. It was interesting in the. Thank you, Christina. It was interesting when this all started back in January and early February. The first real heads up I got, besides my friends in Hong Kong, there was when I saw the first images of them digging mass graves in Iran.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember
yeah,
that?
Yeah.
What a freaky image that was. And now look at how far we've come. That we were focused on the outer world, watching Korea, watching Iran, and then all of a sudden it came to our shore, and it's almost you don't hear anything about Iran and or other countries now, and
Mm-mm.
Italy. It's all right here. This and Brazil are the epicenters of all this stuff. Andrew says, I'm very, very, very sad and tired right now, and it works out. Okay, well, look, honey, Andrew, get some rest. Okay, I mean, that's the most important thing you can do is protect your health right now. Stress is not good. We've gone from one stress thing to another. Like Dee said, the lockdown has certainly contributed to people's
Oh yes,
insanity
yeah, big time.
on the
People are,
streets here.
people are tired of the government telling them what to do.
Hey Jennifer, yeah,
We're supposed
those
to be a free country, and we're being
yeah
told we have to be locked down. And now we got curfews because of a
yeah.
small group of people that are really going to destroy a lot of
There
things
you go,
for us. A
Val.
lot of freedoms are about to be destroyed here in the months coming. Watch.
Yeah, we're still. Well, I think we're still decompressing. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that night after night. What we did down in Oakland, we were tossing around the idea of going to San Francisco, but we
Mm-hmm.
figured the deeper you go into these nights, the less fiddling around the cops are going to do.
Not
Okay.
only that, you will stand right there, and I've seen it with a really small channel, and the whole time he was at a protest, I'm thinking, no, please don't, dude. You don't have what it takes.
Yeah.
And they asked him one
Oh yeah.
question.
Why don't you tell that?
One question.
Yeah.
Are you filming for us or are you filming for the cops? And while he was live, he said, I'm filming for the cops. Thinking, standing right in front of that police line, thinking that police line was going to break order and save him. He got beat up
It was like an amoeba
on live stream.
pulling him back.
It took one lady to be like, oh, hell no! Everybody, he's recording for the police! And that's all it took. And he got his ass beat.
They're not going to break a line to come and get you. They're going to say you should have had better sense than to say something like that. You're too stupid to
There
be
is
out of
no
here.
protecting out there.
You're
They're
too
not protecting you.
you're too stupid to be on the street.
Mm-hmm.
They should have handcuffed the guy for his own protection and put him into a police car or somewhere for the duration. Yes, Oakland was intense. I have a feeling Dee and I will certainly be at other
Oh,
things that
yeah.
transpire around the country. It's just you have to be careful being oversaturated with this because the adrenaline is so high, that I didn't sleep at all on Friday night into Saturday, and then felt a lot of fatigue yesterday. And
Hmm.
the adrenaline was high, and our eyes were still stinging from being tear gassed 4 times, and flashbangs going off really close. It was,
You are on such high alert. You are trying to give these people the best experience they
yeah.
possibly can, but at the same time, you are on such high alert that you cannot pay attention to the camera all the time. You're always doing one of these numbers. My back and neck was actually hurting by the time I was done, and I was never assaulted.
It's like Rosie's that one you want to be in your army squad. You want me to be the scout that's out on the point, sleazing out front there, and all that. The point person out there. I was 10 years old in 1968. I was actually 9. Was just about to turn 10. Yeah, send me an email. I can make it like new@gmail.com. If you're sending something through the mail, it's at the P.O. box, which is on the About page here. Get a basic training certificate. But like I said, for authenticity and for actually having the feeling of, for you guys, with 1080p, and yeah, there was some pixelation now and then when you're running, but to have the clarity to be right on that front line with the cops there, whether it was on the entrance ramp to the freeway where the people are screaming right in the cops' faces, or on Broadway right there, right up at the front line, and getting a sense of the feel of the people and how, and getting a look at some of these people at the protesters too. You
You
told me
got
that big white guy was at another protest too that was on the front. Were you the one that told me you saw him
Yeah,
at another?
I've seen him at
Yeah,
another protest
yeah.
before.
Hey
I
Eddie.
think he's one of those Antifa guys. I'm pretty sure you'll see the
Yeah,
same people. It doesn't matter what protest it is, but if they know that could be turning into a violent protest, a lot of them love Black Lives Matters. They can go there, they can get things amped up. They
which
can
should be offensive as hell if you're a black person.
right.
You know, in my opinion, to be able to use that for leverage to for mayhem, just it makes you a lowest common denominator in society. But they anarchists don't care. Okay, they do not give a hoot.
Mm-mm.
It's just everything is dust in the wind and dust under the heels, and who cares if businesses go under, because most of them never worked an honest day in their life. Let's face it. Okay, they're either the intellectually elite, you know, the Princetons, the Berkeleys, the NYUs, okay? They come out of there with an idealized vision of the world with no concept, never a course in economics under their belt, much less courses in history. But they get mesmerized by, you know, the Communist Manifesto and these idealized worlds.
My face and eyes are fine today, though.
Yeah, I'm good today. Yesterday morning was rough. I'm not going to lie to you
Hmm.
guys. That was tough. I felt like SHI. You can finish it up. Just felt woolly brained, you know, I was just sucking down too much of that crap. Hey, RB Debs, stay safe out there.
They
But
did the same thing with Santa Monica. They blocked off the entrances of the freeway to Santa Monica. Instead of just the entrances tonight, actually, they just shut the freeway down.
yeah, Jackie, I saw Scottsdale. They nailed them all over there. Yeah, Antifa could care less about Floyd. I mean, you have these idealists of the ilk of Emma Goldman of the early 1900s. You know, anarchy, and then you know how it ended up with Emma Goldman. They say, okay, you know, you immigrated here, you became a United States citizen. You know what? You hated so much under the Palmer Act. It was passed in 1918. You know, when Calvin Coolidge and all before his time, they shipped her ass out. They deported her back to Russia, and she thought that was the most glorious thing. You know, the Internationale and everybody puffing out their chests. It's a new world order. She got there for about a year and saw it was just a bunch of thugs and people that were gonna, the Stalins of the world and all that, that were gonna have put themselves in power, and the rest of you can go suck an egg. And then, boy, did she want to come back to the U.S. again. And you know what? They said, hit the road, Jack. You ain't coming back. All right. All you got to go is live someplace like China, which I did for 5 years, or go to Russia. And then no matter how much you want to kick this country in the ass, there's no other place on planet Earth that, has the quality of life, the environmental. I go to some of these countries with horrible environmental degradation, and China and places like that. And people live like rats and pay $2 million for 400 square feet to live in and stuff. It's insane. The super chats were crazy. Well, I think Camo Dave was funny. He had talked about D&I on the down in Oakland, and he's like, "Yeah, and Rosie's getting tips while she's in the middle of this."
She's getting gassed and flashbacks. They're tipping her for
it. What I think they're tipping is for bringing content. I think that's, for bravery and things like that. Would I recommend? Like I said, the next day when I open my mail, it's like, Rosie, I want to do that. What camera should I use? Which cell phone company do you think is the best? Do you think I should be armed or carry pepper spray? And it's like the wig standing on end, like, wow, are you kidding me? I wouldn't recommend that to anybody, okay? Because stuff could go bad real fast. Real bad. So that's what I say, Bella Grace, just amen. It's not, do not, you grew up a city, I grew up a city, and you have an inbred sense, I don't want to say like a rat, but you have an idea of the way that things are going to be.
Mm-hmm. You can read it on people's face, their body language. You just got to know what to look for.
Yeah, they're downtown.
First advisor just came in.
Yeah, what did they say?
Do not come to downtown.
Okay.
Or 3rd Street. Stay away.
Well, I guess we'll have to walk over there then, so,
Do not come to downtown. Let's go.
Well,
Yeah, they're starting. His first message just came in.
Okay. Well, what did it say? There's trouble, or just steer clear of the area? The roadways?
Traffic jams, everything now.
Okay.
Again.
Already happening here in Santa Rosa.
Okay, so we may be live then in a bit. I don't know. It depends how Dee. We'll have to walk. Yeah, it depends how Dee feels.
This place is it's just crazy.
That's sticking out like.
Last thing I want to do is get arrested for someone else's cause.
Yeah, I stuck out like a sore thumb.
And not only that, right now the big targets are not just police; it's white males. It really is.
Yeah, stop. I appreciate you bringing it. Thank you, Blonde. I appreciate that. I may go mobile myself, just go over there. So I don't think Dee wants to be a target, but this is Santa Rosa. This is not, Oakland down there. So we're in wine country here.
These people protesting they from here.
Hey, Penny, how you doing? Pennywise in the house. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. So. Oh, man. So, yeah. Well, Amy, I'll tell you that when that tear gas hits you, there's no escaping it. And the more you get, your pulse rate goes up and you're breathing more rapidly and you're sucking in more and more and you're making it worse by the second. Okay. Not to mention your eyes are just like somebody threw jalapeno peppers into them. So
it's the breathing, breathing the gas in and gasping for breath. And as you're gasping for breath, you're breathing in more gas. You're like suffocating. Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah, I'll stay safe. I'd probably walk down there or whatever. see what's going on. It's only about a 15-minute walk to get down there. Hey, Katie, how are you? Nice to see you. Enjoyed the tear gas treatment. Oh, okay. You know what tear gas feels like there. You know what that feels like now. Okay.
Being pepper spray, I've been pepper sprayed too. I gotta say, the tear gas is totally,
Hey, Dave.
totally different than being pepper sprayed.
All right, guys. Well, I've been on about an hour tonight. I'm gonna assess the situation to see if I'm gonna go into town or not. So I want to thank you for being on tonight on the stream, and I may see you guys in a little while live. But if I don't, I will see you tomorrow morning. And have yourselves a wonderful rest of your night. And if you could hit the thumbs up button on the way out, that would really be great. Thank you, Bella. I appreciate that. Y'all have a super duper rest of your evening.